Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Farming and ranching isn't an easy career or lifestyle in general, but then you throw a disability onto it and it's a whole nother level.
Tonight, a Montana woman breaks down barriers one podcast at a time. Plus, from COVID variants to pilot shortages to last-minute insurance options, there is plenty to keep in mind as you take to the skies this holiday season. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your Monday. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, first tonight, COVID vaccine mandates seem to be taking up a majority of the headlines right now, and deadlines are approaching faster than you might think. Q2's Casey Conlon helps to simplify the matter and tells us what you need to know.
There's plenty of confusion out there surrounding potential COVID-19 vaccine mandates, so we wanted to clear things up a bit. The first thing to know is there are essentially two different mandates to watch for. The first, President Biden's workplace mandate, which is being led by Occupational Health and Safety Administration, or OSHA. That says that employees in offices of 100 workers or more need to be fully vaccinated or submit to weekly COVID testing by January 4th. Now, in addition to testing, all unvaccinated workers will be required to wear masks in the workplace. That starts next Monday, December 6th. However, right now the rule is on hold across the country after the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals granted a stay of the order. The Sixth Circuit Court was chosen by a random lottery to determine whether the stay order will be upheld, but don't assume they will side the same way.
The public should certainly not be guessing, not even law professors should be guessing about what a court will do in these cases which raise novel questions.
The Sixth Court says it will give its answer by next Friday, December 10th, so the masking policy will likely be pushed back a few days at least. Legal experts say, though, no matter which way the court rules, the loser will almost assuredly challenge the ruling in the Supreme Court. But even so, a decision is expected by the new year.
With more than a month before the timelines run out for full compliance with some of these mandates, the Supreme Court should have ample opportunity to weigh in, at least preliminarily.
All right, now let's talk about the healthcare worker mandate we're going to call CMS after the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Under this rule, all healthcare workers in facilities, public or private, that receive funding from Medicare or Medicaid, which is most of them, must be fully vaccinated by January 4th or have an approved exemption. But there is no weekly testing alternative. And unlike the OSHA rule that says workers only need to have had the second shot by January 4th, this rule says workers need to have had all doses 2 weeks before for it to have taken full effect. So by some quick math, the deadline to get the first shot of Pfizer or Moderna is this Sunday, December 5th. Like the OSHA rule, Montana has also filed a lawsuit against the CMS mandate, one of four the federal agency is facing. Last week, a Florida judge ruled for the mandate. But on Monday, a federal judge in the 8th Circuit in Missouri blocked the mandate on behalf of 10 states, including North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wyoming. Montana is lumped in with 11 other states back in the 5th Circuit, the same that ruled to halt the OSHA rule.
Certainly, it's a good case for Montana, and we can expect Montana and its fellow states in that case to urge the court in Louisiana to rely upon it.
Billings hospitals say they expect to suffer significant losses should the mandates take effect.
I'll go wait tables. I don't care. I'm just not taking this vaccine.
Montana continues to have one of the lowest fully vaccinated populations in the country at just 51%. Casey Conlon, MTN News.
Closer to home, Yellowstone County sits at an even 50% vaccination rate. Missoula County with one of the highest rates in the state at 61% fully immunized. In all, well over 1 million total doses have now been administered. Meanwhile, state health officials report more than 350 new cases over the weekend. Yellowstone County seeing the most with 49. More than 200 patients remain in the hospital with the virus tonight, and nearly 10,000 Montanans have been hospitalized since the pandemic began.
As air travel is now severed to some southern African countries as a new COVID variant is now in play, we wanted to know as we embark on a new holiday travel season if Montana travelers are having any concerns about the variant before hopping on a plane.
here at the Billings Airport.
In my opinion, it's smart to keep an eye on it.
Travelers winding down from Thanksgiving, next gearing up for Christmas.
I feel pretty comfortable traveling.
Jay Stranges just landed in Billings on his way to a hunting trip. He says word of a new COVID variant doesn't have him too concerned yet.
It's not something that's the United States has been very exposed to yet. So I don't feel much discomfort about that or worry about that yet.
The Omicron variant could be more transmissible than Delta, even if you are vaccinated. And we know how that's impacted travel. Airlines canceling and delaying flights. And more could be on the way. Some experts saying travelers should even protect themselves a little more.
You can literally do it as your plane is taking off. It takes less than 60 seconds.
Omar K1 with Goose Insurance says it's things like staffing shortages that are upending travel plans.
Watching thousands of people on TV who are stranded on airports and they're scrambling to get home, it should tell us that, maybe it's a good thing to consider insurance and actually purchase travel insurance right now.
Each day, more countries closing their borders to visitors, making travel more uncertain because of the Omicron variant.
I have traveled less than the last year or two because of the pandemic, obviously.
But for Stranges, his family plans to travel to Florida for Christmas.
People are masked and I'm vaccinated, so I feel pretty good about it.
He doesn't want to miss out on another family gathering due to the pandemic. And although he didn't opt to insure his flight,
yeah, so I think there's a little more flexibility with the airlines. I like to think so.
He feels pretty good about his plans, considering the COVID times. In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
A history and deep love for agriculture, a passion to serve those who are challenged with a disability, and a drive to help any way she can. Tonight, I'd like you to meet a Laurel woman who, in her words, is determined to break down barriers and unite fields. She's cutting fences.
Hello everyone. This is Kenny from the Big Sky State. I want to welcome you and thank you so much for joining me here on Cutting Fences.
Her headphones on, Zoom recording, and a guest ready to tell their story of triumph over adversity.
It's not enough to just give them something to do with their hands, though. You have to go for the heart, and the heart's where the healing goes.
True concern in her sweet voice.
And how big of an impact it's made on you returning home.
26-year-old Kendra Joyce, a born and raised Geraldine farm girl, just graduated with her doctorate in occupational therapy from Rocky Mountain College.
My family's in agriculture full steam, and I love OT, obviously. That's why I'm going into the field, but I never imagined that I'd be able to combine the two.
But that's just what she's doing, and a recent capstone project is now kicking off her career.
To add to my presentation, I reached out to a few of my friends who were in ag and just to get some quotes, and I think within 10 minutes I had 3 individuals farming and ranching from the seat of a power chair, and that was really my light bulb moment.
All of a sudden I found myself hanging upside down off the front of the wagon, looking down at the ground, and I thought to myself, this isn't good. And then I told her that I can't move my legs.
My dad was a wheat farmer. He died on the farm at his own hands.
We were just on foot patrol, and it's one of them things where I don't know why I'm here today.
To create community and connection.
Cutting Fences, a podcast that's reaching out and sharing stories of Montana farmers and ranchers who've suffered injuries or accidents and are now dealing with disabilities, PTSD, and even suicide.
I know that they're emotional and I know that they're heavy, but these things need to be said. Male farmer suicide is actually 6 times greater than the national average. People are talking about suicide, and that's not something that I ever thought farmers and ranchers really would talk about, because they're not people that like to ask for help.
The CDC estimates every day across the country, about 100 agricultural workers are injured on the job.
The people in farming and ranching in general are so resilient, and they're ready to push forward through obstacles because they have to. Farm and ranch in general, you mentioned, is so isolating, and then you throw a disability into it. And several of my podcast guests have told me, It's not easy to share my story, but it's been so therapeutic for me to be able to talk about it in a non-judgmental way and be able to help someone out there.
These stories also fueling Kenny's fire to move forward.
And I love the way I started it because I created a sense of community. And that'll always be the cornerstone, is this podcast and the people that I've connected with. But I've been moving into trying to make it a little more sustainable.
You've got to be out there in your tractors and combines.
She's now consulting with an adaptive equipment company out of Indiana, creating another direct connection for Montana farmers and ranchers.
And it's my hope to keep gaining resources for the next person. And because I've grown more in the past 3 months of this capstone than I ever could have imagined. I mean, I really, truly have, from the stories that I've heard. And it gets me a little emotional because it's been such a special thing for me to do.
And this is only the beginning for Kendra Joyce, as she has plans to continue cutting fences.
We're very rural and we're very spread out. I like to say there's miles and miles of disconnect, and so miles and miles of fence line, and so just eliminating that disconnect and connecting everyone on the same level. Thank you so much for listening, and I invite you to be so inspired.
And trust me, you will be.
And you can head to the Q2 website at ktvq.com to learn more about cutting fences. Meteorologist Matthew Hidalgo is in for Ed tonight. And Matthew, there's a little bit of rain in our forecast.
Yeah, there are some showers that are starting to move into the area. Let's take a look at those precipitation chances here in Billings. So our best shot at seeing any precipitation will be from early around 3 p.m. to around 7 p.m. this evening. Now, don't expect much accumulation, maybe up to 1/10 of an inch with these showers. Now, on the bright side, the winds have calmed down a little bit, but we aren't in the clear just yet. We are going to start to see those winds pick up tomorrow through Thursday, especially west of Billings. Gusts anywhere from 60 miles per hour or stronger. So please be careful. Travel could become a bit difficult, and try not to create any sparks. We'll have those full forecast details for you in just a little bit.
We're getting an update tonight on the Billings Bypass, which will eventually connect Lockwood, which is on the other side of this bridge, with the Billings Heights, which is where I'm standing now.
Construction on the multi-phase project continues to move forward on schedule. In the last week, the roundabout at the intersection of 5 Mile Road and Mary Street opened, and crews are making a lot of progress on completing the bridge across the Yellowstone River.
So the Yellowstone River Bridge is the second segment of 6 total segments, and this segment of the project is well underway. The bridge is nearly completed. The roundabout that was also part of this segment is now reopened to the public traveling on 5 Mile Road.
Hikers and bikers will be able to take the trails of Dover Park onto the bridge and cross over to Lockwood, but the main advantage when this phase of the Billings Bypass is finally completed will be for motorists.
Yeah, well, a connection between the Heights and Lockwood, a direct connection, will dramatically improve access between the two ends of Billings.
The bridge is tentatively set to open in 2024 with hopes of completing the entire approximate $118 million Billings Bypass in 2026. In Billings, I'm Russ Riesinger reporting for MTN News.
Farming and ranching isn't an easy career or lifestyle in general, but then you throw a disability onto it and it's a whole nother level.
Tonight, a Montana woman breaks down barriers one podcast at a time. Plus, from COVID variants to pilot shortages to last-minute insurance options, there is plenty to keep in mind as you take to the skies this holiday season.
The MTN 530 News continues right after this.